is good, everyone? It's your boy, the Crooked Commish, back at it again, ready to talk some more fantasy football with you guys since we're in the thick of it, guys. Drafts has already started. Drafts are going on this weekend. Maybe your draft's going on this weekend. I don't know. I know one of my drafts is. This Sunday, we have the Chicago Clubhouse podcast fantasy football draft. We got that filled up. So if you guys are in there, this is your, alert here this Sunday. Check to see what time it starts. So no excuses. But thanks for joining us again, guys. We are ready to chop it up with you. If you have any questions in the chat on how you can get one of these fantasy football championship ring or belt, something to let people know that you're a winner. So if you guys have any questions like that, please put them in the chat. My boy, the mouth from the Bay, is back in the clubhouse, ready to rock, ready to roll as well. He is back from surgery, so they say now he should have some better takes and some better advice now that he's had surgery. So, but no promises, no guarantee. We'll just have to wait and see. So we also have a newcomer to the clubhouse, D-Nice from the Chicago Sports Podcast is here to talk some fantasy football with us. I needed to bring a fellow Bears fan in here in the clubhouse to help me out. I've been nice in allowing 49ers fans and Cowboys fans and fans of God knows who else come in here and stuff. So tonight I needed a little bit of backup. So I brought my boy D-Nice from Chicago Clubhouse or Chicago Sports Podcast to help chop it up with us. And like I said, help us answer your guys' questions. If you did your draft, let us know what your team looks like, or if you have any trade options already, let us know. We'd love to chop it up with you guys and let you know what we think. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into it. Hit the intro.
Clubhouse Network. Crash out, this a crash course, no lecture. Lay hack, the signal caller under pressure. Check the stats, finna up the score for the record. Chicago Clubhouse Network. Crash out, this a crash course, no lecture. Lay hack, the signal caller under pressure. Check the stats, finna up the score for the record. Introducing first, he the Crooked Commish, making sure it's understood that he him. Next up, he the mouth from the Bay, dynamic duo, hit you with an ounce of that game, they make you bow face and salute the truth. Curve all the blase blind, the whoop-de-whoop. On the path to the bag, got that money and the power. They gon' ball every fantasy football hour. Got them sour, these hacks can't hack it. Meanwhile, they on point like a cactus. Want smoke and get smoked like some cat piss. If you can't be good, damn it, be good at it. Ay, Chicago Clubhouse Network. Crash out, this a crash course, no lecture. Lay hack, the signal caller under pressure. Check the stats, finna up the score for the record. Chicago Clubhouse Network. Crash out, this a crash course, no lecture. Lay hack, the signal caller under pressure. Check the stats, finna up the score for the record.
Woo! If that don't get you ready, guys, I don't know what the hell will. So thank you again to Bogey for putting that together for me, that song. Really appreciate it. Favorite part in the video, though, is right after we show my mouth, my boy, the mouth from the Bay, pause. We have Brandon Marshall catching the touchdown, one-handed touchdown over his team there and stuff. Like I said, favorite part of the video for me. So now that that's out of the way, let me go ahead and bring in my co-host, who doesn't have one of these, but he's going to be trying to get one of these. So my boy, the mouth from the Bay, what's good?
What's up, yo? Yeah, we got to talk to the editing department about that nonsense. Get that shit there taken care of.
Yeah. Put a work order in for that. Yeah, I'm sure that.
Yeah, I know. I'll talk to somebody about that nonsense.
How you doing, buddy? I know you had a few weeks off there. You had some surgery. How are you feeling?
Yeah. I mean, feeling a little better now. Elbow's a little bit more mobile, so been got to go in there, repair a couple ligaments. I've been smacking the shit out of you for years, and finally my elbow went out, so had to get it
Yeah,
taken care of.
it was due to happen. I'm happy you just didn't send me the bill for the surgery on
Nah,
it,
nah, nah. I
because
take it
that
on
would
your ass
probably
like normal. Like I just take you on fantasy like I normally do.
see. We got another one confirming. Yep, that's what you guys do. So, but anyways, happy to have you back, man. Ready to chop it up, talk some fantasy
It's good to be
football with
back.
you.
Good to be back.
Obviously, I think you have a few drafts coming up, so this is definitely in time for your drafts and whatnot. So, anybody else that has a draft coming up, let us know. Uh, Let me go ahead and get in our uh, guest of the evening. He is with Chicago Sports Podcast. Like I said in the intro, he is D Nice, and he is going to be nice. What's good, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's good, brothers? How you guys doing, man? Hey,
What's
listen,
up?
you
What's
got,
up?
hey, Crookie, you got an intro on you right there, bro. That
Yeah,
one, that's a hit, man.
Yeah, that's a
Now
banger.
correct me if I'm wrong. That's some Bay Area stuff right there, right?
that is some Bay Area
Yes,
stuff.
yeah, that is some
Yeah, I can
banger. Yeah,
tell. Yeah, what they
yeah.
say, that thing slaps.
It's a slapper.
What
Bro,
they
It's a
say.
slapper. It's a
exactly what he
That's
slapper.
what
fucking
they
said.
They be
say.
smacking. They be smacking. That's for sure.
Yeah. Pleasure to be on with you guys, man. Crook Commish, thank you for having me on. Mouth of the Bay. Nice to meet you, brother. I'm glad to be
Just
here
to
talking
mention.
some fantasy football, man.
Yes, sir.
We are happy to have you here, my friend. So, like I said, I needed the backup here. So, let's go ahead and get into it real quick. Let's talk a little bit about our Bears here. And what is your thoughts of second year Caleb fantasy wise? Do you think is he could be a guy that's a starter on your team fantasy wise, or do you think he's more suited to be maybe your backup to someone who's a bit better or more reliable?
Um, Honestly, it just depends on how your team's constructed. But I think this year Caleb is going to take a leap. It may not be as big as a leap as a lot of people may think, but there's definitely going to be a leap. He's going to increase his touchdowns. He's definitely going to increase his passing yards. I think this is going to be a year where he earns the respectability of the league. And going into next year, you'll feel very confident in putting him as your starter, right off the bat. But this year, I think it could go either way, and I think well, I just like I said, I think he's just gonna earn it this year.
Okay. All right. What are you thinking of our running backs there with DeAndre Swift? The 53-man roster came out. They
Hmm.
only had 3 active running backs on that roster. Somehow, Rashawn
That's
Johnson made it. But this whole preseason, we saw a whole lot of DeAndre Swift,
Yeah.
especially with the first team. So, do you
Hmm.
see him being able to take a step forward as well?
I like Swift as a running back. Don't think he's like amongst the elite, but he's going to be who he's going to be. He's going to be very solid. So another guy's going to be better than he was last year because the situation around him has improved. I do think he will clear 1,000 yards. He may get to close to 12. If things go the way it should. And he's also going to be a threat. Catching the ball out the backfield. He can be a very sneaky fantasy threat. But he's another guy, like I said, is going to take a leap.
Nice,
He
nice.
he has some very good attributes, but I just don't think he's as dynamic as some of the elite backs in this league.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he becomes more reliable in the passing game. For Caleb to kind of maybe dump off and whatnot. So we saw a little bit of that in the preseason. One of his where he leapfrogged
Yeah,
one of the Chiefs players there. But it will be interesting with this new offensive system and scheme, just as far as uh, how how much he gets used in the passing game and whatnot. So even if he doesn't break 100 yards every single game,
right.
if he can get at least 5 catches and 30, 40 yards along with the touchdown and his rushing yards, that's a very solid number 2 running back for fantasy wise. So
Yeah, and
um,
then too, it's not necessarily just from a football standpoint, it's not necessarily how many yards you get. it's being able to command the line of scrimmage. So, if you can get 70 yards on 4 yards a pop, shit, that's just as good as a
Mhm.
120 for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Especially if you can get money in the red zone, because that's where a lot of our struggles, what I'm saying, has been coming from. Not just last year, but over the years. We've always had to settle for field goals, and hopefully that gets better. This year as well.
hopefully we'll see. It's we'll see. We're definitely have a lot to be encouraged about. Like I said, with Ben Johnson now being the behind the driving wheel there and
Hmm.
leading this team. What I like so far, what I've seen with him is he's not taking if someone fucks up on the team during practice, he's not sugarcoating it at all, and he's letting them know. And it was kind of funny to see the Bears up like 31-0 versus the Bills, and they fucked up on a play or on a scoring drive, and they show him on the sideline, and he's just like super pissed off face. And it's never mind the fact that the team's winning, and throughout the whole game they've been looking pretty solid. But
Hmm.
in this particular instance, this play, you guys fucked up. It didn't work out, and you lacked the focus, and I'm not going to let that shit slide. So I'm happy that we have a coach there that's getting on these players' asses, and hopefully, it doesn't wear them out, and it shows them the more effort on the field for them. So
Yeah. And when it comes down to that, Ben Johnson has to be cognizant of two things. He has to make sure he maintains his consistency and his authenticity when it comes down to that. He has to draw that line in the sand, and anybody that gets near it, is a threat to be, what I'm saying,
yeah,
held accountable. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
a lot of coaches start off like that, and they tend to wane as things may not
yeah.
go their way. So he
I
needs to
mean,
maintain his consistency with his demeanor.
that's one thing you gotta think about though. Like he was in Detroit when they were 5 years ago when they started, from the
Hmm.
ground up. When Dan Campbell's talking about biting people's ankles off and crazy
Yeah,
shit like that. So he's seen a franchise that was dysfunctional of just any sport, not just football.
hmm,
Detroit Lions were a bad ran organization, and they went in there, and he's seen a culture change,
yeah,
from the ground floor up. So I absolutely agree with you on that. I mean, he wants to put that same type of stamp on, in Chicago and kind of set just straight ground rules from the beginning one. I mean, he didn't want to
yeah,
be that dad to come in and feed everybody ice cream right away. He's going to come in there and say, get your ass up at 6 o'clock and do some chores.
yeah,
Like Tony said, that one play and that one thing, it's a foundation that you're building. He doesn't care that
hmm,
it's preseason. He wants to see you do the right thing every single time because the next time it might be in that third down that wins or loses a game. So
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And we all have to keep in mind too, he's still a rookie head coach at the end of the day. And he had a ton of success in Detroit as a offensive coordinator, but being a head coach is different. So we may have to may have to be in a situation where we may have to show him a little grace as well outside of the expectations. Because
Yeah,
listen, being a coach in this league is not easy. And he's a rookie. And just like any other rookie, to be honest, he had some brain farts in Detroit. If we're going to be 100% honest, he had some
yeah,
brain farts in
yeah,
Detroit. It's just something that it's a part of it. So, I know what our expectations are, and I'm speaking for the fans. We all understand. We all understand what the expectations are. So don't get down on the man if he makes a mistake. Remember, he's still a rookie.
true that, true that. So, Mouth, the last few weeks when you've been gone, we've been kind of talking about these preseason games that we've been watching and whatnot. I know we got into it a little bit before you kind of went away for your surgery, but those last 2 weeks, did you see anything or see anybody that kind of stood out to you a bit more, or anybody, any game in particular that you wanted to kind of bring up at all?
Um, like two rookies, honestly, that kind of really showed themselves out to me was one in New England, Travian Henderson, when he popped the top off with that 100-yard run.
Mhm.
The past few weeks, I've watched him. Like after that, I watched that game, and that guy's just looked like he's running at a different speed than anybody else on the field right now. Every time he gets that ball, every time it didn't matter if it was first, second, or third. People that he was playing against, he was absolutely just taking it to whoever, and he looks like he's if he's not going to be, he's going to be the number one running back in New England pretty soon, sometimes this season, no matter if anybody's healthy or not. He's just that much of a home run hitter and brings a different explosion, to that offense that honestly the Patriots need because they don't have a lot of playmakers in that team. I mean, and Matthew Golden for Green Bay. He's another one with the knock on Green Bay is that they've had so many.
I don't like that shit. For sure, bro. I don't like that shit.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't, but that's still besides the point. That dude has shown that he might be that number one guy that they've been looking for. I mean, Christian Watson's been a really good wide receiver, but can never stay healthy. Jaden Reed was supposed to be that guy, but never took control. And then they have like
Too many drops.
two or three other really good wide receivers, but no one's ever been that guy on a consistent week basis. And this kid looks like he has that hit factor, whether he's an inside or the outside. To He already has that speed, but it's the ball skills is what impressed me more than anything else. There's a few balls that were just thrown up, and he knew how to break off his route and just go attack that football in the air. Which I mean, a lot of young kids nowadays are with all those 7-7s. Can have all the speed in the world, but if you can't go get that football, it don't matter. So
Right.
those are the two that I've seen that have really stood out to me that might actually affect a fantasy draft, especially on a 12-man or 14-man team. You start getting deep into rookies and into second and third year players, not just the big names. So those are some ones that have actually you know pretty much jumped out to me like right away.
Okay. One guy that I think everybody was really eager to see what he can do, but really didn't do much of anything was Genty with the Raiders. He
Yeah,
did
that's
get a few carries here and there, but like
like
really
it killed me.
minimal.
Like that game against the Niners. Like he had a couple good runs. He had one good run that he trucked the DB. Okay, that was great. I mean, but then they were talking on every channel like how was his coming out party. He
After
had like
that,
20 yards. He had like 20 yards. Like yeah, you know what I mean. Like and he got like a goal line touchdown that she fumbled and got lucky that he crossed the goal line. It wasn't a touchback. So yeah,
Yeah.
he was a little more disappointing. But that's honestly it's probably a little more scary considering if that's the offensive line that he's going to be running behind he's going to have a lot more, tough, rough days. He's going to have, breakout ones that, especially for fantasy wise, because I guarantee you he's going to go within the top five running backs off the board, just
Yeah.
because where he got drafted.
Hmm.
so you don't think that's going to help or hurt his draft stock at all? Like, what about at least maybe for you personally, if you were towards the
For
back
me,
end of the first round of the draft and he's there, or let's say a Jefferson or a CD Lamb, would you still be taking Genty over those guys?
I think he's still gonna get his chances because that's the way PQL is. He wants to run the ball and play football. He wants to have play action pass and everything. So that means that Genty's gonna get fed plenty to kind of make that work. But it still worries me with that line. The offensive line hasn't been very good for the past few years, and doesn't look like it got any better this year. So I mean, that was a big thing. That I talked to plenty of Raider fans that are friends that found me that were like, it doesn't matter of how good this guy is if he has no one to block for him. He's not in NFL defenses. He's not going to outrun all these kids like he did in college. He's not going to overpower them and run away from everybody like he did in college. It's going to be a little different because the linebackers are just as fast as him in this league, and defensive linemen are just as big and strong too. So, I mean, he's going to find out real quick that those holes close up real fast, and he's not just going to blow right through it like he did in Boise State. So it does make me worry. Like especially a PPR league, I would definitely go a wide receiver for me. If it was CD Lamb or something like that, I would take more of a Genty right now. Now, if he comes back if I got a wraparound type of thing where I'm at the end of the draft or
Mhm.
10 or 11 sitting somewhere, I might take a flyer on just depending on what's happening before me, especially in the keeper league. If there's keeper leagues out there, like, a lot of the good running backs are already gone. At that point, if I got my wide receiver, then I think I would take a chance at that point. But it's definitely your draft position would dictate that for me.
D Nice, what are your thoughts on Gentry? Sorry,
Genty. Genty
Genty.
was my guy coming out the draft. I was hoping like hell the Bears had a chance to draft him. Um, I think he's very he has great contact balance. I think he's going to have, well, it just depends on what you consider successful when it comes down to the Las Vegas Raiders. Like my man Malcolm Bay says, the offensive line looks a little shaky. And really, I don't think Pete Carroll really pushed the issue for him during the preseason. I think Pete Carroll just allowed him to let him get his feet wet, and come on up out of there. And I think he'll be prepared for the season. I would not be surprised if he gets 1,000 yards. Because one thing about Pete Carroll, he's going to run the football. There's going to be a lot of short passes there as well. And Genty he's pretty decent out the backfield from what we've seen. And like you said, this is
Okay.
not Boise State. And I'm not expecting him to take over the league like he did Boise State, but I do think he will have a very solid rookie season if he's healthy. Now, as far as taking him over the fantasy studs and CD Lamb and all those guys right there, where teams are going to throw the football, because let's not get crazy. We understand that this is a passing league.
Right.
This is exactly what this is. Philly won on the ground last season, but that was an anomaly. This is a passing league, and you have to get it done through the air. So guys like um Johnson, Chase, CeeDee Lamb, those guys, they on teams
Brown.
where that ball's going in the air. So it's very few studs as far as running back in the running back position. So if you want one, you're gonna have to get on them early.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is like what you're talking about, Barkley and Derrick Henry. Like they took it to the house. You know what I mean? They
Hmm.
ripped off like 50, 60 yard runs for touchdowns. So it was kind of like a bomb in the air. But if anything, it's even more backbreaking when you see someone just run up your down your middle of your defense and take it to the house. The Genti does have that, ability to absolutely just burn out there and drop an 80 yard on anybody's head. But that might be far and few in between in NFL when he's running, behind that kind of offensive line that who knows what's going to be like, and when it actually kind of time to really
And
get
then,
get it
like you
out
said,
there.
the
Yeah,
linebackers have their speed is just as fast as some of these running backs at times. So
yeah. You
you
gotta
know,
have the ability to make that first guy miss. And
Yeah,
yeah.
you know, the key to getting a good running back in the fantasy draft is versatility. You have to lean on the versatility of the guy. If it's not Derrick Henry, but after Derrick Henry, it's all about the versatile guys.
yeah,
So, and speaking of that scenario, actually came up for me this past weekend. Ended up drafting for my uncle since he went to the Cardinals Raiders preseason game.
Mm.
So, and he had the ninth spot out of 10. And we talked a little bit before, and he was high on Alvin and wanted me to try and get him if he was there. But he also, was big on Derrick Henry. So every time I did these mocks or whatever, there was a good chance where I could get both of them, or maybe like Henry and one of CD or JJ or something like that. Comes down to it, Henry's gone, and a lot of the other stud running backs are gone. So I ended up getting CD with this first pick, and on the wraparound, I was gonna get Alvin, but he got taken right before me, so I had to just go ahead and get Justin Jefferson. So it's one of those things where it's like I know he wanted stud running backs, but I was like, I got you two stud receivers instead, and if
I mean,
he's not,
honestly would not be mad about that. Getting CD and Justin Jefferson. I mean, McCarthy kind of scares me a little bit because he didn't really throw a whole lot in college, but I
Yeah,
mean, he's still going to get his targets no matter what. So
yeah,
can't be too mad about that.
yeah. McConnell's gonna scheme that thing open.
what did you guys think of the news of Adam? I'm hooked on a Thielen going back to Minnesota, being traded from the Panthers, going back home. How do
It's
you think
cool.
he'll fit?
I mean, it was cool for him. There'll be a place for him to retire after this season, because
I think
I'm not sure
yeah,
how much that he has to
he's
give
not.
with this team.
Right.
I understand that Addison is out for 4 games, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say right now. Yeah, so
But
I think that's more of a band aid than anything else.
yeah,
I think he's just going to be there for those first four games more than for the whole
and with
season.
the quarterback they have, JJ, they're going to really handle him carefully. There's going to be a lot of running involved. That's why they got the backs that they got. They're going to run that thing, and it's going to be a lot of play action rolls out, just trying to make things easy for him, especially in the beginning. I think hopefully we have our run situation stout on defense, because they're going to come at us. They're going to trust their offensive line. They're going to come at us, and it's going to be a lot of play action, and they're going to give JJ an opportunity to catch us slipping.
Let me ask you guys, which quarterback do you guys like better, either J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix?
I take.
Well, we've seen Michael Penix. Yeah, we've seen Penix, and with that offense that he has in Atlanta, he don't got no scrubs over there either. He got two pretty good running backs, and Bijan and now Jerry. And then if Michael Pitts actually ever joins the NFL, and if he becomes the stud, weapon X that he was supposed to be coming out of Florida,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Then that might unlock a whole other level for that offense, because I mean he has two wide receivers they can throw to too. So it's not like he just took over Kirk Cousins' job and it was like, we're just going to throw him to the wolves. I expect them to be at the top end of offense for the year. So I definitely would trust him a little bit more right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mouth of the Bay. Michael Penix for me, good offensive line, two very good backs, Thunder and Lightning, if you will. I think Kyle Pitts is going to have a resurgence. I think he's going to be.
We've
I
been
think
waiting for that for years.
I know, but he had his best year with Matt Ryan, a guy that could
Yeah,
get him the football, and I think
that seems so long ago.
I think Penix is
It
of
was
that
so long ago.
ilk. I think Penix is of that ilk, and I think Penix has the ability to get him the football, especially starting out this offensive group, the coordinators. They're going to do the same thing, kind of, with him as they do with J.J. McCarthy. They're going to utilize these running backs, and it's going to be a lot of chance for a guy like Penix to be open down the seam or just in the middle of the field. Period.
Nice. Yeah, between myself as well, like I hear what you guys are saying with Penix and whatnot. Seeing just the small sample size of him, but I like the coach better in Minnesota, and I think I would slightly just go with JJ. He still has just as good of weapons, especially when Addison does get back. He's had a whole year to sit and learn that offensive playbook as well, so he should understand it pretty good. I would think. But we'll find out real quick, against our Bears on Monday night, how much he grasped that playbook, obviously. And then his running game's still solid with Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones as well. So, but that line may not be as good as Atlanta's though. So
Yeah,
we'll give him that.
Jordan Mason is a big pickup. I know you probably hate to
Yeah.
lose him.
Yes, that was a little sad to see him go, but I
Yeah.
understood. That kid after free agent went and got paid a little bit of paycheck, so more
Yeah.
power to him. I mean, he went and did his thing without CMC, and he showed that he could be, which anybody who was watching the Niners last year was just begging to get him to a game, and he finally got in there, and I mean, he took the league by storm last year. So we'll see how that works out in Minnesota. I do that helps him being there with Aaron Jones. I think does kind of translate a little bit to like Michigan football, because that's exactly what I think they'll do for JJ in Minnesota. I think they do a lot of running the ball, try to do a lot of play action passes, because JJ didn't have to do like a lot of like bulk throwing. He just had to make the right throws and do the throws that they needed him to make at the third down and 10 or something like that, and move the chains. So I could see a lot of that. I mean, we all do forget that he did beat out Sam Darnold last year before he got hurt. So Sam Darnold went and had the season that got him paid, but he actually beat him in training camp. So he was slated to be the number one guy last year. His rookie year, I guess. This year.
Right.
But I think McConnell's definitely a smart. What are the top 5 smart offensive head coach in the game? So he's definitely going to put him in places for him to succeed and do things for him to go out there and showcase his talents. And, he's a big kid who can move around with the ball too. So I'm sure they'll get him outside and do some RPO things and different things to kind of get him comfortable. But,
Key thing
that's
is
one of those things we'll see. Yeah, I got to keep him healthy. Though.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the hit that took him out last year looked like it was really nothing. Because he continued playing the game, and then all of a sudden, next day later, he's like, oh no, he's got a torn, something, and then confirmed, and next thing he's out for the year. So, like I said, that was kind of one of the things to kind of sidetrack real quick with Jordan Love and whatnot. Like as good as he looked as he's been looking, to just assume that he'll have just the longest career as Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre did. Like, I'm not so confident his body can withstand the hits and, to withstand, to last that long, a 15-year career and whatnot. So, and it's already kind of shown where these first few years, groin injury there, he's missing 2 or 3 games here and there. So it's like, keep it up. I could very well see him being done after about 8 seasons if his body can't hold up to the NFL.
Yeah, and I hate to talk so glowingly about the Pack, but I really respect what they have up there. They're doing it wide receiver by committee. Like you said earlier, this is Watson. He's
Yeah, but
often
he's going to
injured.
be out. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's already coming through the season injured because
yeah, but I think they're
that's
used to it by now. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think they're
and
used
that's
to
why
it
I
by
brought up
now.
Matthew Golden. That's why I
And
brought Matthew Golden. 'Cause I think he's going to get the opportunity to play right away.
they
I mean,
got
he's
two
not going to
tight
be behind these
ends.
kids.
They got 2 tight ends, and they have a former rush leader on their team as well. He's not talked about a lot. Josh Jacobs was very productive in Green Bay last year.
Yeah, he
And he's
really
yeah,
not
is.
spoken. He's not spoken on a lot. Fantasy sleeper for sure,
Yeah.
but he's very productive
Nah,
in Green Bay. And usually, when you get older, man, you tend to get a little wiser. So, I think as far as his decision making, man, I think he's gonna work that out, and to the point where he'll be able to stay on the field. But everybody, it's hard. Like, it's only 2 teams that has, to my knowledge, that's I'm thinking right now, that had that look at quarterback. That was the Colts and that was Green Bay. To have those Hall of Fame caliber guys that come back to back like that, it usually
yeah, never mind.
it usually don't happen like that. Now I think if Luck would have played a little longer, he'd have been in the Hall of Fame as well. But listen, it may seem like it should be easy, but that's not an easy thing to do. And they got it. They got their business together up there, man. As far as from an offensive standpoint, play caller, the coach, he does his thing, man, and he's really bringing out the best of Jordan Love.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, that's one of the things that we definitely understand about not being able to get a solid quarterback and whatnot. So for some people, the jury's still out on Caleb. As far as Bears fans, they don't think he's going to be the guy and whatnot. But I think it's still early and whatnot. I'm hoping him having the limited success that he had with the bad offensive coordinator, shitty head coach, how 2 bad offensive coordinators, during that season. I'm hoping now that he's stuck with a more offensive mind in Ben Johnson that he can really get the most out of him and whatnot. So, but let's wait and see. I don't think it's necessarily a guarantee. From what we hear, I keep hearing from all the reports in Chicago is it may take a year or 2 before him to actually grasp this playbook, just like it took Jared Goff a year or 2 to really, grasp it and understand it. So I'm hoping it doesn't take that long, but fuck, anything.
I think that's more of him to stay on schedule, stay in the offense. I think that when because the 2 games I seen him play is when he came out and it was 1-2-3, ball was gone. 1-2-3, ball was gone. 1-2-3, ball was gone. Like he made quick decisions. He didn't hold the ball. He didn't put the offensive line into any kind of no bad plays where all of a sudden it's 2nd and 18 because he took a bad sack. You know what I mean? And I think that the Chiefs game was definitely not a good one for him because the offense was not in sync at all. But that first drive right against the Bills really showed that maybe if he kind of just reels it back in a little bit and just lets them just concentrate more on just doing the offense, just playing within the scheme of the offense and not try to be a hero and run around in circles and this ain't you ain't USC no more. And then every time you do something, usually you do something stupid when you do that. You throw the ball into traffic, you throw the ball into triple coverage, or you take a horrible sack or lose lose that fumble 20 yards away from every lineman and then give it easy 6 points to the team. So I think if he does that, I think that learning curve will get a little bit more will be a little less steep than you guys hope for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things on the Bears that we can sit up here and worry about, but for me, Caleb Williams is not one. We all understand that he has to get better at certain things, but as you talked about, Crooked, the year last year was tumultuous. It's a whole bunch of moving parts. Things are it's just a terrible case of dysfunction, right? And he still, from a statistical standpoint, he still came out and gave you a solid year for a rookie. Most rookies, now we do have the anomaly with Daniels and Stroud, but most rookies don't, they don't give you that.
Right.
You
They're
know,
seeing ghosts by the end of the season.
yeah, so I'm not worried about Caleb. Like I said, this stability that we have, and this is his first year in it. So I'm not expecting him to, especially early on, to absolutely set the world on fire. But like I told you earlier, I think by the end of the year, he's going to win the respect of, his peers, and he's going to earn the fear of the league.
Oof, man, wouldn't that be a happy ending for us?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope so, man. I hope so. JD, I just want to give a shout out. Thank you for joining us. JD was in Vegas. He had a few of his drafts going on in Vegas over the weekend. So it's good to see that, you made it out of Vegas alive. It didn't completely involve you and suck you in and keep you in that city. So good to see you made it out. And Jay Grizz, good to see you as well. Bear down. And let's see. My only thing is that the other QBs from this class have played very well. Yeah, and that's true. That is true. We got Daniels and Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Drake May too. So,
But
yeah, Drake May to a certain extent. Like
you
I'm
look
not.
at those situations, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. But you
No,
look
no,
at
you're good.
those situations with Bo Nix and Jaden Daniels. Number one, they're being coached by two guys that have coached teams to Super Bowls. Number two, you look at the staff that's behind these guys. You know, do you think either one of those guys have the year that they had in a Bears uniform last year? I think not.
No, probably not. Not with that offensive line and the issues that they
Nah,
had.
man. Like Denver
Maybe he
coming
wouldn't have
in
had many sacks, but he still would have had a decent amount of sacks.
into this season, Denver is rated from an offensive line standpoint. They're rated like top five, you know, and from a defensive standpoint, they're top five too. Sean Payton, you can say a lot about him, but he knows how to coach and he understands how to develop quarterbacks.
Yeah, very true. Very true. I wanted to ask both of you guys a question here. Let me ask you guys a question, and then I do apologize. I need to take my dogs out for a quick potty break. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you guys here is fantasy-wise, and Mouth, and who do you think is the best fantasy option for your particular team, the 49ers, this year? Or who's going to be scoring the most points out of your team, the 49ers? And then D-Nice, well, once he's done, if you could give your opinion on who do you think is going to be the top fantasy scorer for the Bears this particular season. So, and I'll be right back in a minute, guys.
honestly, for us, I think if the stars align, CMC is going to be that stud that was having 20 plus touchdowns and was running for 1,400 yards and damn near 80 catches out of the field. That's and how we got to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah.
Do I think that'll happen? No, because they went and got Brian Robinson Jr.
Love that for you guys. Love that
for the Commanders, and that just shows that maybe that Shanahan will actually take a head his ass and not drive CMC into the ground. You know what I mean? And realize that we need this guy for more than 3 or 4 games out of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my hope, that because he is the most potent fantasy player or whatever you want to say that's on our squad. He's literally the stir that the straw that stirs the drink for us. When he's playing at a high level, the Niners score close to 27 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
Brock Purdy's QBR is over like 110 or something like that, and we're like 27-10 when he's completely healthy.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's definitely that dude. If he's 100% healthy, he's gonna make everything go. And with our wide receiver core the way it is, I did see some nice connection between Ricky Pearsall
Yeah.
and Brock Purdy.
Hmm.
So I think he's going to be just a sneaky for the first few weeks because Brandon Ayuk's not coming back for probably to week 6 or 7. Maybe week
Hmm.
8. Um, Brandon Quan Jennings is in the middle of a calf injury and a contract dispute, so he
Yeah.
might get IR for the first 4 games. And we got Watkins that's been hurt. That's a
Hmm.
young kid that shows some promise. And then
Yeah.
Towns got hurt our last game. He's out for 6 weeks. So they literally went and got a Valdez scheduling just to put baddies in the wide receiver room right now. So I mean, Ricky Pearsall is gonna he's gonna get 15 to 20 targets just because he don't have nobody else on the outside. I mean, you still got Kittles,
Absolutely.
and I'm sure they're gonna do some stuff, but they're seriously running back dependent right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, if
Yeah.
if something happens to CMC, I'm glad that they went and got Brian Robinson to kind of be
Hmm.
that, at least pick up the mantle because he's shown he can stay healthy for a full year. There's two
Yeah.
running backs that are behind him are already hurt. Isaac Guendo has some nice home run power last year,
Hmm.
but he couldn't stay healthy for the whole game. And then Jordan James, who everybody I was super excited to see him coming out of college, and he didn't even made it to the first game in in preseason. So
Yes,
he's
he
been
looked
hurt all
good.
year too. So I
Hmm.
mean, it's definitely a little scary right now with our skill positions going into the week 1 because
Hmm.
we're running out of bodies to throw out there.
Well, I tell you what, man, I really like Brian Robinson Jr. for you guys, man. Yeah, that was a guy that I wanted the Bears to pick up because he fits what
Mm.
you need when you have a young quarterback, and
I
you
was
have
confused on what the Commanders are doing with that. Like I was like, this guy was an absolute stud the last few years for you, and
yeah,
just to kind of get
they're
rid of him on this last year, like I was like, what the hell?
they're very high on their rookie that they have, and
Yeah,
also they had to make some sacrifices because they had to pay uh McLaurin.
McLaurin, that's right. They did just
Yeah,
give him
they had to
yeah.
pay him, so they
big
someone had
contract.
to lose in that. And you know how the league feels about running backs, man. They're not very valued around this, you know what I'm saying, around the league like that. So,
For a
he was the
time of
one
ever.
that had to take the loss. But, like you said about Christian McCaffrey, he scares me, I'm gonna be honest. I had an opportunity to pick him, I passed on him on one of my drafts because he scares me, man. Like I've lost a lot of championships in fantasy because of
He
guys
lost
being
me a
injured.
championship 2 years ago. He
Yeah,
got me to Super Bowl and lost it to me in the same damn year.
yeah, guys being
The
injured,
Lord giveth and then he taketh.
He really
yeah,
did, fucker.
and he's the epitome of that. But Ricky Pearsall, he's a little older, and he though he's a second year wide receiver, but by age he's a little older, and he has some savvy. He knows how to get open. Um, and George Kittle, man, all reliable. I think he and Brock Purdy have a rapport, and they have a bond that can't be broken. And he's
Yeah.
really going to have to lean on Kittle in the running game for the first couple of weeks. So
See, nice. Did you already ask the questions you had for the mouth for the bay
now I'm
about
about to ask him right now. How do you feel about Brock Purdy?
Me?
Yeah.
I think he's seriously underrated. I think that people want to blast him because he had, you know, Debo and Ayuk and Kittles, and we got Trent Williams on the left side, and
Hmm.
CMC was healthy, and they're all running around
Javon?
and doing everything, and then they want to act like he didn't push the ball down the field or he didn't make play like off schedule plays or run around the pocket and
Yeah.
and do something spectacular like this first few years. The only reason the Niners probably didn't, a good chance didn't win that Eagles game is because he got hurt on like the second play, and then when he was healthy for a year, he went and he took the Niners back to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
and he played well in the Super Bowl, so it's not like it was his fault the defense or special teams, messed up. But the Niners should have won that Super Bowl. Never should have even got to, overtime.
Hmm.
So I mean, for me, I think the pundits want to say, "Oh, he's Mr. Irrelevant. He's not a force multiplier or all this other nonsense that they want to put out." But they want to act like Jalen Hurts doesn't have a squad around him. You know what I mean? They want to act like Joe Burrow doesn't have his college buddy and some people are throwing the outside. Like
Yeah.
you're not, you're not. My one of my biggest comparisons is when Mahomes was coming out in his first few years, and he had Cheetah, and he had
Mhm.
still prime Kelsey. He was out throwing for 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And everybody thought that was going to be his norm for the next 10 years. But then when all those weapons got taken away, and they had to figure something else out,
Mhm.
he threw for like what 14 interceptions or like 20 something touchdown passes last year. And this is the
Yeah.
the GOAT. So preceding new age GOAT. You know what I mean? So I don't care who you are. Once you don't got weapons to throw on the outside or people to work around you,
Mhm.
then you're not going to be as well. And you want to say game manager? That's the whole point. Every quarterback in the NFL is some sort of game manager because
Yeah.
their head coach wants them to follow what the freaking game plan is, follow
Scripted.
what we do in practice, what is scripted. It's like you're not going out there drawing shit in the dirt and calling it like, well, make a left at the freaking at the fire truck or at the fire,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like hey, get to the 20 and come back to me. That's just not happening. So I hate that shit when a game manager. He just happened to get Shanahan's playbook and master it
Yeah.
far better than anybody else. And they can say the Jimmy G's numbers and everything. The numbers are comparable, but the other times I've seen Jimmy G throw to someone out in the flat and throw it at their feet, or throw it 20 yards over their head into the first row, or miss someone, George Kittle's for a touchdown on the seam. I've seen him miss those throws over and over and over again for the whole time. And he got to Super Bowl because on the strength of a ridiculous defense at that time.
Mhm.
But Brock Purdy was hitting those throws. And that's something that I completely the eye test is for me, which is what always seals it. I seen this kid
So he was worth
go
the money you
from
guys paid.
yeah, I mean he was worth the money. I mean, for both this day and age in the NFL, when you move up to any type of the draft up in the top five, and you give up multiple, first round picks, second round picks, and multiple years, and that um, draft is a bust. That kid does not play well. He's out in 2 3 years. Normally, the head coach and the GM are gone right after him. If it wasn't
Yeah.
for this kid saving their damn ass, both Shanahan and Lynch would be somewhere else right now. They'd be on
Yeah.
TV talking about football instead of actually being in the front office of one. So I mean,
Yeah.
this
They'd
kid
be talking about
absolutely saved their jobs. And anybody who's been a Niner fan who's worked their salt understands that this kid absolutely deserved the money. You can say, "Oh, I don't want to pay him this." I'm sorry if you don't understand economics in NFL right now for a starting QB, you're going to get paid. And there's
Yeah.
plenty of quarterbacks who got paid just as much or a lot more money who did half or nothing even close to what Brock Purdy has done in his first few years.
Yeah, Brock definitely understands the assignment, no doubt about it. And the 49ers are in a window where they cannot afford to lose him. He's a
That's
guy
right.
that fits what they want to do. To go out here, okay, and lose him and get who?
Yeah.
A lot that's not been talked about is 49ers and their blunders at the quarterback position as well. They've been just as bad as the Bears. But,
Hmm.
the fortunate thing is that they got cognizant guys up there that know when to, what I'm saying, fold a 10 on the guy and let him
yeah,
loose.
yeah,
Instead of hoping that he's gonna one day he's gonna be next year gonna be his year. Nah, the 49ers didn't play that. When they found out the guy that they drafted wasn't the guy, they got rid of him. And
yeah,
that's what good organizations do. That's when you have football people in the front office that recognize guys are not who they say they are, and you get rid of them, and you go out here and try to make up for it. And they've been very lucky in that department. Now, coaching plays a huge part in it, but it's not like okay, Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant, but they brought in Jimmy G. Jimmy G, he's not great by no means, but he has very good pedigree when it comes down to playing under winning organizations and playing under good coaches. Now he hasn't been healthy all the time, but he's another guy that understands the assignment. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And sometimes, if you understand what's going on, it kind of supersedes, you know, the ability of it. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a rocket arm, you just have to have good timing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
yeah, people can cheat
yeah,
if they have the ability, but if you don't have the ability, you have to do
It
You have
was
to have that
funny that they
right here.
said
Yeah.
an interview, said Brock Purdy said 40% of the time he can't even see the wide receiver. He's just throwing to a spot in a window.
Yeah.
Like he can't even see over his offensive line. He just knows that that's where that person's supposed to be. And some of
Yeah.
And
those
trust them to be there.
seam, some of those seam and out routes and balls that he throws that are absolute freaking dime in a bucket.
Hmm.
That's just a testament to like. I mean, you got to remember this kid was a highly kid in Arizona, so he played at as like a 4 or 5 star
Hmm.
schools in Arizona, and then when he went to Iowa State, it was
Hmm.
something that I heard like that really resonated with me. That college quarterbacks that go to Ohio or go to Florida or whatever, when they got nothing but 5 star recruits around them, who they barely get touched, who barely have to worry about throwing to open windows or do anything like that, they don't always translate to become a good NFL quarterback because then they
Right.
get drafted high to a teams whose offense is pretty much in shambles. So when
Yeah.
they got to go through adversity, or they got to throw to someone open, or they got to kind of check down a play and change their protection stuff, they don't know how to do it because they've never done it before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And but we get kids who go to Iowa State or go to these smaller colleges, and they're always underdogs going into these big ass schools. They're used to
Hmm.
playing in front of 80, 90,000 screaming fans. You know what I mean? He's gone to Penn State. You know what I mean? He's gone to Ohio State and played in big ass games in the underdog and played it very well at those. You know, so you forget that this guy's neither the top or one of the top five in every you know quarterback at Iowa State. So
Hmm.
that's just the same way when you think about it. You know what I mean? All these small school quarterbacks, as Ben Roethlisberger, freaking Josh Allen came from Wyoming. These
Yeah.
guys. Aaron Rodgers came from Cal. They didn't
Yeah.
come from big time, like college, programs that we think that we're gonna turn out, just one after another. So I mean,
Hmm.
that's just something for me that he's had to play. He's had to be a dog, for his basically his whole NFL career, all the way back into high school.
Yeah.
And to your point, like that's one of the biggest things, the biggest differences here with some of these guys is the games that they have under their belt at the college level.
Yeah,
A guy like
games
Brock
played.
Purdy has played a shit ton more games than maybe the highly stud guy coming at Ohio State, where he only has
Hmm.
one full season under his belt. So yeah, he may be a senior, but he only has 12, 13 starts compared to someone who
40, 50
isn't.
starts. Yeah,
Flash in
Yeah,
the
yeah, you know what I
pan.
mean. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that experience, like I said, and that's kind of came into play with some of these other guys like Jaden Daniels and whatnot, being in college for so long, getting these
Yeah.
games under their belt and whatnot. So
I mean,
it
look what
bodes well.
happened with Anthony Richardson. In Indianapolis, like he came out because he was a project. And he had
Yeah.
so much upside and so much of this and so much of that, and
Correct.
he obviously was not ready to be in the situation and
And
put in a situation that
yeah,
I mean, so he needed to be sat down kind of like Jordan Love in a type of way and just sat there for 2 or 3 years and just have him be an organization and just go through it and learn. And he didn't get the opportunity. And now, hopefully he finds a similar recreation, go somewhere else and kind of revive his career somewhere else because he's definitely not going to be in Indianapolis unless Daniel Jones goes down for the rest of the season.
Yeah. Anthony Richardson wasn't even good at Florida. They overdrafted him. They
he was mid,
overdrafted
Yeah,
him. I mean, I
yeah,
live in SEC country, so listen, I watched him. He wasn't even good at Florida. He was athletic, and the P word got the Colts in trouble. You know,
potential.
yeah, they leaned
hmm
on that
hmm
and they picked him in the top five. And when they picked him, I said that's a mistake. They,
I
they're
thought
gonna
so too.
they're gonna hurt with that one. When you go to these programs that's football factories, they have an opportunity to hide you behind the other guys with ability. You know, that's why I
Absolutely.
like you guys said, I like guys that have, a ton of snaps under their belt. And I also enjoy guys that's able to do it with nowadays in different programs. Like a Dylan Gabriel, for instance. Bad. This might be bad timing, but Dylan Gabriel started out at Central Florida, left Central Florida to go to Oklahoma, and from Oklahoma he went to Oregon. Now we understand what Oregon is, especially in these days and times. They are who they are. But he did well in Central Florida. And he did excellent in Oklahoma. So he was able to do it in more than one spot. And I think if he was 6'3",
Right.
he may have been late first round, early second round pick.
If you had the
Honestly.
measurables there with them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a third round pick, being what 5'10" maybe,
Yeah,
like
maybe, right?
5'9". You know what I mean? So I mean, he's still a third. So yeah, if he's 6'3", he's a top 5, especially in this draft. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
So, guys, we are coming up to our time limit here, but we did have a few questions that I came in here, especially one for you, Mouth. He's, Yo, Crook, my homie Mouth from the Bay, is like Scent Dog from Cypress Hill. I bet
That's a
yeah,
good
I
one.
bet he gets that question a lot. So I'm sure you hear that once in a while. He says so. That's funny. That's
that's
funny.
all
That's a
good.
good one.
The
That's
first
That's a
time it's
good
that's
been
one
all
right
said
good.
there.
on this network for sure. So and then
Shit,
we got
I'm about to go Chief Howard get out of doing with this right now. I'm about to go put some Cypress Hill and go bake out.
button up. Do the one button up there.
Yeah.
Then Jay Grizz asks, as an Irish fan, I was thinking the Bears should take a look at signing Austin. How do you say that?
Estimate. Yeah.
As a short yardage backup to Swift. Maybe. What do you think about that, D-Nice? You like that? You like that thought process?
I did like the thought process. I do like the thought process, but unfortunately, the Eagles snatched him up. The Eagles
Ooh.
snatched him up. And see, that's the
All right.
thing, man. That's the thing, and it kind of eats me up with the Bears. These guys, the Eagles, they're coming off a Super Bowl win, but they are still
We're still
Stacking.
hungry.
aggressive and adding talent. They had the leading rusher in the NFL, and they
You know
still
what's
went out here
scary
and got another one.
is that
You know what I
they're the
mean?
cheapest and the youngest defense in the NFL still right now. They're the
Listen, man,
cheapest in the NFL, and they were number one defense last year.
you
They're not
have
even
to
paying these guys yet.
be aggressive. Like, not saying that you should go out here and trade for a guy, but if a guy's out there, man, and he fits what you're trying to do, which SMA does. Now, this love affair that some Bears fans and the organization obviously has for Roshan Johnson, when they
I
drafted
don't
him
understand
out,
it. Yeah.
he must got pictures of somebody, you know, because to me, respectfully, because to me, number one, he can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field. And number two, he's just a guy, man.
A
Now,
Jag. Yeah.
Estime is not a world beater. But if you have an opportunity to get a guy like Brees Hall, you have an opportunity to get a guy like Brian Johnson Jr. San Francisco's another one. They have McCaffrey. They were in the championship window. If it weren't for injuries, I think they still would have been in the conversation. But they're not allowing these guys to slip through the cracks. And it's
Mhm.
important, man. And that's important for this organization. You have to maintain some type of aggressiveness. I'm not saying being foolish, but when these guys are out here, you have to make a play for them, man.
Yeah.
Especially
You
with the
know,
situation that you're in. Like,
there's
the
only three
running
running
back
backs.
room is a little light with us. It's a
Uh,
You
little
know what?
light. Let's be honest. Like, it's a little light. And, you know, like I said, Johnson has health issues. Hate it or love it. And they're holding on to Travis Homer. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
Oh man, I got something for that one. Yeah, for sure. That's match up exactly what you're saying here with Travis
Come
Homer.
on now, dog. Come on, man.
mhm.
I mean, they
Man.
like his special team skills, I guess. I mean, they say he's a special team. That's where he has his value because it really isn't in the running back position and
Man.
stuff. So
But we need a guy that can really take advantage of the line of scrimmage, man, and move it around. Move it up
yeah,
and down, man. We need a tough guy that can get those tough yards, man. Estimate he's a good mixture of size and speed, even though he wasn't able to show up with the Broncos so much because they were heavy with the pass game. But
mhm.
it's a good pickup for a team like Philly, man.
Yeah, and then the Broncos did make another move there in trading Tim Patrick over to the Jaguars as well. So I guess
Mm,
that means if you have Cortland Sutton and whatnot, he's definitely going to be getting an uptick, and maybe even Bo Nix's partner in Oregon, Troy Franklin, may be getting some more action as well. So with Tim Patrick kind of moving on there, so
Evan Ingram.
Yeah. Oh, and dude, and he looked good in the preseason too. The few catches that he did have, he looked like he was, in midseason form and whatnot. So he was moving very well.
But he's another guy. I mean, he's another guy would have a heck of a game. Then next thing you know, he's out for the next 3 weeks.
That's true.
One of those guys, don't rely on him for too long.
He's a definitely buyer beware type of guy. I had him a few years of fantasy, and he did just that. He looked good for 2 weeks and had been gone for a month. And I'm like, this one.
Yeah, man. So.
Well, D-Nice, like I said, I want to thank you again for joining us over here at the Clubhouse. We really do appreciate you coming and kicking it with us. And this is for you, my friend here.
Hey, come back.
Come back to the Clubhouse and chop it up with us again, please.
Indeed, it's been a pleasure, guys. That hour went by pretty fast.
Yeah, it usually does with us.
Talking football, next thing you know, it does come up on, sneaks up on you for sure.
Yeah, thanks for having me, though.
Oh, absolutely. Please let the good people know in the Clubhouse where they can find you and listen to you as well. Go ahead and plug yourself for a minute there, if you don't mind.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is D-Nice. You can find me on the Chicago Sports Podcast. Tuesdays, some Wednesdays, and Thursdays. You're going to be able to catch me since the season has started. You're going to be able to catch me on Monday nights as well. Please stop over and check us out. You'll love it. We're Bears fans, speaking football, talking Bears, for Bears fans. So please come on in, check us out. And if you like what you see, please like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
And
please
I'm
do
also,
the same here. Go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off. I'm also getting my feet. I'm also getting my feet wet in the X universe. And if you want to follow me, please follow Slick Deezy on X.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, well, definitely, like I said, I've checked out your show plenty of times, being a Bears fan and whatnot. So always like being in their comments. So you'll more than likely see me in the comments as well. So
yeah,
and then I'll love to come on your show as well and chop it up.
Absolutely. Anytime you guys got a void and want me on, just let me know, man. I'll try to work it out to see if I can, get up in here.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. That's good to hear. So
and good luck on your fantasy drafts, except the drafts that you all are in with me. But all your other fantasy teams.
I'll see you Sunday. Sunday.
All your other fantasy teams, best of luck to you. Hopefully we meet at the end.
You're right. When we can talk about the money in the belt or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Mal from the Bay, any final words for the Clubhouse members before we sign off, sir?
No, just it's good to be back, from a little couple week of hiatus. But it's good to be back. It's good to, be chopping it up with y'all again. Like you said, hours always goes by so fast, and you don't pay attention, and boom, it's time to go. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, time flies when you're having fun. So, but like I said, D-Nice, thank you once again for joining us. I really do appreciate it again. Mal from the Bay, it's good to have you back in the Clubhouse. So the rest of you guys, be safe out there, be good out there, good luck in your fantasy football drafts. But like I said, if you can't be good, damn it, at least be good at it.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
Got that wolf coming out this weekend. Got drafts all fucking weekend.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.